Hi guys, thanks for joining us here at the Movie Geeks Point of View. My video has froze directly as I started. We're probably going to have some technical difficulties again tonight. The internet connection for us is shockingly bad, but we're going to do our best and try and power our way through it. As always, I'm your host and resident movie geek, Ryan, the Movie Man Martin. For the first time, I'm joined today by Monty without the Python, David Montgomery.
Alright, how's it going?
I'm once again joined by the man you all know and love, Ali McLaren.
What's happening, guys?
It takes a minute to answer. But before we start, I'd like to thank Ali for joining us here today. He came on last minute. We were going to have someone else, but it wasn't possible. So Ali's filling in with about half an hour's notice, so he's doing very well for us. Today we're doing something a little different. We're calling it movie face-offs. We're actually going to compete against each other. What we're doing is we're going to ask 4 questions / topics. We each have to give an answer for each question. We then, at the end of each question, give 1 point out each. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, perfect.
Makes sense to the 3 of us. Whether it makes sense to people watching / listening, who knows, but they'll cotton on as we go. So right, the first question is, what do you think is the best movie reboot of all time? And we will start with you, Monty.
Well, mine, since I didn't really have much to go on, I couldn't actually think of much stuff, is Alice in Wonderland, the remake done by Tim Burton. I thought it was a great twist on some of the other stories that you've got for it. You've obviously got the book, and Disney's retelling it, which is quite a light-hearted side to the story, as opposed to the newer Tim Burton one, which is a lot darker. You've got things like the Jabberwocky, the Jojo bird, and the big cat. Can't remember what the cat's called. No, not the Cheshire Cat. Right. I thought the film itself was, as much as it was dark, was quite a funny film. Johnny Depp was absolutely brilliant as the Mad Hatter. I found him to be absolutely hilarious, where he split personality, how he could go from mad, obviously mad 1 minute because he's a Mad Hatter, but quite serious, quite intelligent at some points. She's brilliant in any film that she's in, with the CGI for her big head and everything was quite funny. And also, like, Anne Hathaway was pretty mental as the White Queen, obviously being quite light and light-hearted and everything. She also had a bit of a darker side to her and that. So I thought the whole film itself was pretty cool, pretty fun.
Okay, Ali, what do you think is the best movie reboot of all time?
I think the best redoing of, in fact, it's a tie.
You don't get to have a tie, you get to pick one movie. Pick one and stick with it.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. For the pure simple reason, as I've said in past videos, we absolutely brilliant revamp of the franchise. They're doing it right. The story of how they're going with it, everything is spot on. I just can't wait to see how this franchise is going to go forward.
Okay, for my answer, I'm going to go with the reboot of Star Trek. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I thought the cast was outstanding. I thought they played it like the original cast, but without being camp. They weren't as hammy as the original ones. It was much more serious, but they still played the characters like the original ones, which is a hard line to walk. Zachary Quinto's fantastic as Spock. Chris Pine absolutely nails it as Captain Kirk. Everyone in this is fantastic. The special effects are brilliant. The story is brilliant. The way they rebooted it using time travel to do it, and that way they can have like a parallel timeline and why this goes, I thought was amazing. Everything about it was great. The only thing I dislike about it is that it doesn't have the theme song from the original series, because everyone likes that do 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 do. It was a classic.
It does at the end of the credits, actually.
Did it at the very end?
Yes, at the end of the credits. Yeah.
Going to have to watch that again because, well, I just
It's
have to
actually
agree.
a homage to the original series. That's why they put it in there.
Okay, so would you like to ask any questions off anyone, Monty, about their choices to, or are you just happy with everything we've said?
Yeah.
Okay, Ali, would you like to ask any questions or say anything, comment on someone else's choice or what?
Well, I'd like to say on your comment, I completely, even though I've chosen the Planet of the Apes franchise, I will totally agree with you on Star Trek getting the revamp that it's gotten. At first, when I heard about it, I wasn't too keen on it because I am an original franchise fan, but I'm giving this one a benefit of the doubt and see where this goes as well.
I'd just like to point out to anyone watching that we have currently lost David Montgomery. While Monty is gone, I will comment on your choice. And
Please do.
I have to say, I really like it. And when came up with the question, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes never even crossed my mind. Um, but it's a fantastic
Alright.
film. The special effects and stuff are amazing.
Yeah.
Andy
Yeah.
Serkis is great as Caesar. It's again like I said with Star Trek, the Planet of the Apes is so much less it's so much less cheesy than the originals were. And I love the original films, but you can't have cheese like that in a modern day movie. And Planet of the Apes takes that completely out of it. I loved seeing Caesar, like how we actually became Caesar in the original movies. We only got, they talked about Caesar, but you never saw him because Caesar had been dead for
No, you.
hundreds of years. Right, we have David back. So, Monty, I'm going to comment on your film like I did Ali's. You missed it because poor internet, but it was all positive what I had to say because I do genuinely really like the Planet of the Apes reboots, and I can't wait for the next one. So on to yours, Alice in Wonderland by Tim Burton. The fact that this movie would even come into your head makes me want to attack you. Uh, Tim Burton has a handful of good movies, and that is not one of them. Johnny Depp, once again, is just playing a cartoon. This is a guy who used to be a good actor. I mean, Blow was outstanding, and the fact that they've taken a good actor and they've just made him a cartoon dickbag strongly annoys me. I believe the last good Tim Burton film was probably Sweeney Todd, which actually did have Johnny Depp in it. And again, he's been all gothic, but it was a bit different and I really liked it. So I do not like your choice at all, but that's personal opinion. Ali, do you like Alice in Wonderland?
I would have been quite happy with an animated reboot of the franchise, and I didn't really like the fact that the support of what the original story was kind of actually a flashback. But if you're going to reintroduce the franchise to a fresh audience, you need that story to to let sequels come in the future. So, in my overall rating of Alice in Wonderland, the reboot, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 5 stars.
That's not terrible. That's pretty average. In fact,
That's
that is
alright.
exactly average. Yeah,
It's
that's
the
average.
effect.
It's-
It's
So,
the
Bang in the middle.
effects.
Monty,
It's the,
would you like? What do you think about our choices? Do you like Ali's choice with Rise of the Planet of the Apes? Did you like the Star Trek reboot? What do you think?
In all honesty, I haven't actually seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes yet. I do enjoy the
oh
other
my
Planet of the Apes
god!
films.
Fair enough, right? So we'll quickly go to each giving our points out, and as I dislike Alice in Wonderland, I give this point to Ali. Monty,
Thank
I believe you have no choice but to give the point to me if you have not seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I believe that's a guaranteed one for me. What do you think? It's
I do, I can. Maybe I'll just get to Ali. Nah, you're right. It kind of has to be you. I kind of have no other
Yeah, yeah.
leg to stand on with that.
I can't believe he's not seen the reboot of the Apes franchise. I mean,
David, do you like Star Trek? Just out of curiosity, the remake. Did you like it?
Oh, aye. I love
Yeah,
the remake.
good, right. So good. I feel
I
like
thought
I'm
it was a
not trying to
brilliant film.
just steal a point off you for no reason, as long as you like the movie. Ali,
yes.
who do you give your point to?
I'm gonna give my point to you, Ryan, I'm afraid, because you know my history with Star Trek and you know my feelings about this new jizz to the franchise. So,
Good times. So, right, the second question, topic number 2, we are going to be discussing is what, in your opinion, is the best Mark Wahlberg movie? And seeing as we started with Monty last time, Ali, we will start with you on this one. What do you believe is the best Mark Wahlberg movie?
well, in all honesty, I have only just recently become a Mark Wahlberg fan. I've not seen all of his films. I've only seen a handful of them. The most recent one I saw was Lone Survivor, uh, but I'm going to go with Ted. I just find it really, really funny. Mark Wahlberg is absolutely brilliant in the film. The fact that he, he's losing a girl to a teddy bear, which is just is absolutely hilarious. And yeah, I give the film 5 stars overall.
That's
Uh,
incredibly high rated. Okay, Monty, what do you think is the best Mark Wahlberg movie?
Again, I haven't seen that many Mark Wahlberg films, but the one I went for was Pain and Gain. I absolutely loved Pain and Gain. The fact that it
nice.
came for uh, an adaptation for a true story. I thought The Rock was brilliant in it. I know we're talking about Mark Wahlberg, but the fact that he was involved in the film.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, I've only seen a handful, but he was a bit more corrupt in Pain and Gain as opposed to the other films that I've seen. You saw a bit more a darker side of him, obviously playing a different character, but also the amount of effort they put in for going into that film. Like, he was a total twig in Ted and an absolute tank in Pain and Gain.
I'd like to point out
Bloody
that you're
mental.
wrong. He was not a twig in Ted. He was just dressed that you couldn't see
Compared,
that he was a tank. You know, it's fire anyway.
rubbish, compared to
The
what he was in
guy's a
Ted
beast.
to how
The
he is in
guy's
Pain
a
and Gain. He's a
beast.
twig.
Okay, fair enough.
Aye, now he wasn't dead.
Right, well, are you finished? Do you want to say more? I mean, I can let you go on.
No, I think that was basically everything I had.
Okay, well, for my pick, I will say Boogie Nights. It is an absolutely outstanding movie. Mark Wahlberg's really young in it. He's about well, he plays a guy who's 17 at the start, and he has an argument with his mom, gets kicked out of home. Next day becomes a porn star because he has an absolutely massive cock. I mean, the guy is well endowed in this movie. It's the movie that gave him his big break. It was one of his first acting things after he done Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. He was fantastic. It's also just got an incredible cast. I've actually jotted some names down because there was no way I'd remember everyone who was in this. So listen to this cast: Burt Reynolds, Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly, Don Cheadle, Heather Graham, William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Thomas Jane. It had the fucking Punisher in this movie before he was the Punisher. It was amazing. It had a great soundtrack, a lot of disco songs from the 70s, and then a lot of like pop, progressive rock, electronic from the early 80s. It's really, really funny, but it's not a straight up comedy. It deals with a lot of serious issues. It's got like drug abuse in it massively. It's got murder, suicide. It's got the whole porn industry and the effects this has on the people in that industry. Uh, it it's amazing. And a couple more arguments for this movie. First argument is actually two arguments because we see Julianne Moore's and Heather Graham's boobs in it. And who doesn't like that? Good pair of boobs on screen never hurt anyone. The second argument is
Boobs made it into the conversation.
Boobs made it into the conversation. Boobs had to make it into the conversation. But the second argument is this movie had 66 award nominations for the year
Wow.
it was released. 66 award nominations. Of these 66 nominations, it won 32 awards. That says it all. You know, it is a great movie, and if you guys haven't seen it, you should watch it. And Mark Wahlberg has a 13-inch cock in it, which he got asked about for years, and was very, never really gave an answer to it. And then a couple of years ago, he actually came out and he was like, "No, it was a prosthetic. It wasn't actually my cock. It was a prosthetic." Right, we will move away from Mark Wahlberg's genitalia, and
Yeah, let's do that, please.
Ali, have you seen Boogie Nights?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I have seen Boogie Nights. I love Heather Graham's tits. There's no getting away from that. She has got wonderful pair of knockers. I mean, she even got them out in The Hangover. It was for a baby breastfeed, but she still got them out, still counted.
Do you remember Heather Graham's character's name in Boogie Nights?
I do not.
This is one of the things
no.
I'm talking about when I say it's funny. She is a major character in that movie. Like, genuinely, she's in it a lot. Major character. And her character's name is Roller Girl. They never even bother to give her a name. They always just refer to her as Roller Girl, because she just wears her roller skates the whole time.
Roller.
There's a scene where she sits down next to Mark Wahlberg, and a guy tells them to fuck. And she's like, okay, so she strips down naked. And Mark Wahlberg's like, are you not going to take your skates off? And she's like, I never take my skates off. And that's just fantastic.
Does she not even beat a guy to a pulp with the skates on?
She does. She stomps on his head at one point. It is brutal.
As you do.
Like,
yeah.
actually brutal. So, Monty, have you seen Boogie Nights?
You're not going to believe this.
You have?
I have seen it.
What did you think?
Oh, Christ. This is going back years. Christ. But what I remember,
Sorry,
I did
the film's
actually
going back
enjoy
years too.
watching the film.
Yeah.
But what I remember, I did actually enjoy the film. There was a scene that you were just talking about there, where with the roller girl and just being like, right, have sex. That sparked it back in my memory.
Yeah.
But I do remember thoroughly enjoying that film. Boobs and all.
Well, have you seen Ali's pick, and what do you think of it?
Oh, I love Ted.
Love Ted.
There's not a person yet that I've met that doesn't love Ted. It's an absolutely amazing film.
Fair enough. Ali, what do you think of Monty's choice?
I actually haven't saw the film, but the trailer sort of spoke to me as well, and I am a Dwayne The Rock Johnson fan, which is why I'm quite surprised myself. I've not seen it.
Ali, Ted, I enjoyed it the first time I saw it. Since then, I've rewatched it. Have not nearly enjoyed it as much on rewatching. I just don't think it's a movie you can watch again and again and again and keep enjoying. After the first time, the novelty of a really rude teddy bear making blowjob faces and stuff at a woman in a supermarket just kind of wears off.
You're trying to tell me that when you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared? Just grab your thunder body and say the magic words. Fuck you, thunder! You can suck my dick. You can't get me thunder because you're just God's farts. You try to say that doesn't give me chuckles
I've
every
got to
time.
say, I enjoy it more when you do it than when they do it. But, I was going to say, the one scene from Ted that I do absolutely think was brilliant is when Ted tells Mark Wahlberg's character that he's seen a girl, and Mark Wahlberg goes to guess the name, and he guesses all these names, and Ted's
Even
like, "No."
that's just
And
funny.
he's like, is it one of these names with a Annabelle or whatever at the end of it, or Anne or something
A
at the end
Tiffany,
of it, and he's like,
a
yeah,
Tiffany.
and he just rattles through them all again. That was outstanding. I love that scene. Monty, as for your film, Pain and Gain, the first time I saw Pain and Gain, I didn't like it. I thought it was offensive in general. Like you say, it's based on a true story. These guys actually kidnapped and killed people, and Michael Bay thought it would be a good idea to turn that into a comedy. I mean, best about it is the families of the people who were kidnapped and killed are still alive today. Because what's the point in making a comedy about horrible murders if you're not offending the living relatives? Yeah, so I did not enjoy it on the first viewing, and it's fully all the Michael Bayisms, where like the American flag in practically every shot. It just makes me think of Team America. America, fuck yeah! But,
Team America's amazing film.
Team America is good. I like that, but that's taking the piss of these American type things. Michael Bay's doing it completely seriously. Do you know what this shot's missing? An American flag in slow motion. Yeah, it did have slightly less explosions than your usual Michael Bay movie. But anyway, I thought there were some positives to it, and bits were very funny. Although the movie as a whole I wasn't keen on. But I've watched it again since then, and I enjoyed it much more on my second viewing. I haven't watched it a third time yet, but I did enjoy it much more second time watching it. And the bits where like The Rock's character is like trying to barbecue the guy's hands to get rid of them, and the whole place starts smoking up. So he takes them outside and he's barbecuing the hands on the driveway, and then it freezes and comes up at the bottom. This is still a true story. Bits like that, you're like, how that's hilarious. How stupid was this guy? And does The Rock not lose his toe at one point in it as well? And so on
Yeah.
second viewing, I did enjoy it much more than my first viewing. But right, well, we'll go to giving points. So, Monty, who would you like to give your point to, Ted or Boogie Nights?
My point for this is going to Ted.
Point to
As I said, I
Ali.
didn't enjoy Boogie Nights, but Ted's funny as anything.
Ali, does your point go to Boogie Nights or Pain and Gain?
I've got to give it to you, Ryan. I'm afraid. For just like I've said, the reason I've not seen Pain and Gain, so I'll give it to you.
You really should be giving it to me because Boogie Nights is Mark Wahlberg's best movie. But okay, I am actually going to surprise myself and give a point to a Michael Bay movie. And I never thought I'd do that in my life, but I just feel Ted is so overrated that I need to give the point to Pain and Gain. Like I say, I wasn't that keen on it the first time, but I enjoyed it much more the second time I watched it. I'm going to give the point to Pain and Gain, so that round is a straight up tie.